And welcome to another edition of the Big Nick Energy Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Yolk. That's Brad Dressler. Brad, how you doing today?
You're about to tell us how great we're doing today.
We're doing fantastic. We're on a 5-game win streak because we're recording before the second Knicks Bulls game. Are we going to be on a 6-game win streak when people hear this? Yes or no?
I mean, I've doubted the Knicks more than I'd like to admit. So, I mean, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We got ways to beat them. So, I think so.
I love it. I wouldn't bet on. I'm not going to bet on the Knicks tonight. I took prop bets obviously because I'm supposed to, but I wouldn't. They were 5.5 point underdogs before, and now they're only 2.5 point underdogs. It's very hard to beat a team twice in the same week at their home place. That's for sure.
I mean, tell that to me who lost money on the Pelicans not once but twice against the Utah
Against the
Jazz.
Jazz.
So,
Yeah,
yep,
rough.
it is what it is. But yeah,
That is rough.
um,
Before I forget, so I didn't mention this last time. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Big Nick Energy and at Big Nick Energy _. We also started a Facebook group, Big Nick Energy. So now find us on Facebook if you don't use or like Twitter or Instagram, or follow us on all three. We would all greatly appreciate it. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Pods for our podcast. And Brad, I think you had a question for me about one other thing.
hey Joe, um, have you ever been sitting around thinking about how badly you wanted to just talk Knicks 24/7, but also talk betting advice?
I think that all the time. And I feel like I have a lot of info to give, and I just don't know where to give it.
I've just been looking for an outlet, and I'm not entirely too sure where to go. Do you have any ideas?
So funny that you should ask, Brad. Have you ever heard of this new thing, ChalkBoard?
No, tell me more.
Oh, it's a brand new, I don't know, brand new. It's a year old about. It's a messaging board app that's based around sports and gambling. You can follow our page, Big Nick Energy, where the conversation about the Knicks, gambling, and all New York sports never stops. The link is also going to be in the description of this podcast and every podcast from here on out. So make sure you join that too. You'll be able to hear a bunch of my bad takes and Brad's great takes.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, all jokes aside, guys, seriously, it would be greatly appreciated. Um, we just want to try to get a little bit more of a sense of community with the fans of Big Nick Energy and everything it is that we do. Our ultimate goal right now, step one, is to get to 100 current members, and at that point, we're going to do a Knicks ticket giveaway. So that's going to be really cool.
For anyone that's on our chalkboard at that time.
Yeah, so be one of the first 100, and I guarantee you'll have a real shot at getting some Knicks tickets at some point in the near future. So definitely look forward to that. As mentioned, the link for the chalkboard will be in the bio, and I'm sorry, in the description rather. And let's go Knicks.
Let's go Knicks. The conversation never stops. It's actually already become my favorite version of our social media. I like because it's just like talking to people that wanted to talk to you in the first place versus like Twitter is Twitter. Instagram, it's like maybe you'll comment on something, and then Facebook is our parents for the most part. So I actually have liked Chalkboard a lot so far.
Yeah, totally.
So Brad, we had a couple games since the last time we recorded and did this.
Yes,
We
we
are on a
have.
5-game win streak, like I said. The last game that anyone would have that we didn't talk about that since we potted was the Knicks beating the Kings 112-99 at home. And Julius Randle was going off prior to him having a major Julius Randle moment. And Julius Randle, I know you and I are on opposite sides of this argument about whether he should be a Knick, shouldn't be a Knick, should have been traded, should not be traded, et cetera, et cetera. In 27 minutes, he had 27 points, was a plus 12, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, only 2 turnovers. And then he had the dumbest double tech we've seen yet this year. So starting with Randle and then the Knicks closing it out with our phenomenal defense that has come out of nowhere. What did you take of the Kings game?
Granted, no De'Aaron Fox, right? Say what you want about Domantas Sabonis this season. De'Aaron Fox has been the best player on that team, and they were without him that evening. That being said, a win's a win. We're not that good of a team either. On paper, the Kings are a lot better, and that is also, signified by their record. They've been really, really good, especially when they're at full strength. So it was a solid win. Julius, for whatever reason, just likes to show up against Domantas Sabonis all the time. And it's I think he had the highest scoring first half of his career. Again, look at the box score. 27 points seems like a nice game. He had 24 going into halftime. So a little weird that he slowed down so much. I mean, they were doubling him in the second half a lot more. They did game plan heavily against him because he was just chewing their defense up. But like I said, a win's a win, especially when you get it against a quality team. I don't care if we beat the Hornets. I don't care if we beat the Magic. I don't care if we beat the Detroit Pistons. I like it when the Knicks win. When we can actually beat teams that have it together in some capacity, can't hate on it.
I want to ask you, because I think it's been a little while since we've done the Julius Randle pro and con thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know you have been on the side that we should have traded him at his peak. We should always try to trade him when he's doing well.
Yeah.
I am never a fan of trading one of your best players unless you're getting a better player back. I don't think it's ever worthwhile to get 50 cents on any dollar. So where are you now that Julius Randle is more or less being like COVID Randle, at least in the past like 10 games or so?
Sayonara, buddy. Peace out.
You say that though, but like, what are you expecting in return that would make that be your mindset?
It does. I don't a pick and matching salary just to get off of his money. I'd be more than happy if we can extract Dario Saric and Jay Crowder plus a lightly protected first round pick that'll damn near guaranteed to convey from Phoenix. I would take that in a heartbeat. If I can
that sounds like a total waste to me.
I don't agree. And the reason being is because there's two, and I have this argument with Angelo all the time. There's two ways to create a contender, right? You could do it the way the Lakers have. You could do it the way the Clippers have. You could do it the way the Brooklyn Nets have, where you're just like acquiring Thanos's freaking what are they called? The stones?
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Stones?
Infinity Stones. You can go get megastar talent, or you do what the Bucks did. You do what the Warriors did. You could do what the Boston Celtics have done. Whereas, yeah, sure, you're gonna go out there and you're gonna go get some high caliber free agents as time goes by. But in my opinion, the best way is to draft 2, 3, 4 guys and have them be a part of your core. In 2019, you drafted RJ Barrett 3rd overall. In 2020, you drafted Emmanuel Quickley and Obi Toppin 8th and 25th overall. In 2021, you drafted, Deuce McBride, whatever, a nice reserve piece, but as well as Jericho Sims. But most notably, you drafted Quentin Grimes. Those are your guys. Now you want a superstar involved too. Maybe in 2023, that's when they get that star. Maybe they suck so bad that they go get a Scoot Henderson, for example, and that's your cornerstone. That's your guy to build the team around, but you can't do that. Could you imagine if the Knicks were Scoot Henderson, and let's go back to 2018 and Mitchell Robinson. 2018, 19, 20, 21. That's your core. That's your core right there. Imagine a Knicks starting 5 today of Scoot Henderson, Quentin Grimes, RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, and then Mitchell Robinson. That's your 5 guys, all homegrown, all drafted by you over the last 4 drafts, 5 drafts, whatever the case may be. That is how you build a team. If Scoot Henderson were to turn into a superstar, then sure, go make a trade. Use whatever assets you have. Let me finish.
In what world do the Knicks have the 2nd overall pick in this crazy scenario? In what world?
Because they suck so bad that they don't have a Julius Randle. They don't
Brad,
have.
I have a separate question for you based on your hypothetical scenario. Our young core is already a young core. I'm going to tell you all the names you just said without Julius Randle. RJ Barrett, Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, Deuce McBride, Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickley, Jericho Sims, Mitchell Robinson. That team isn't the 2nd worst team in the league. They're not the 5th worst team in the league. They're like 10th. You're still not getting that dude. You're still not getting him with or without Julius Randle on our team. especially if you get Jay Crowder and Dario Saric in a light projected first-year scenario. Two things. One, we already have 11 first-round picks in the next 8 years, 7 years, however many years. They already can't figure out how to get rid of any of those for a superstar. And we have Tom Thibodeau as our coach still, which means he's not going to play 85 young people. It took him 2 years to even get to Deuce McBride. It took him like 7 months to even get to Quentin Grimes. We literally just suffered through watching Emmanuel Fournier, who I was the only person on Emmanuel Fournier's bandwagon, or Evan Fournier's bandwagon, for the last 4 months of the bandwagon that existed, which ended 2 months ago. In what world does this team get second worst with this coach and this core without Julius Randle? It does not happen. It doesn't exist. Even at the very worst the Knicks could be, if Julius Randle, God forbid, knock on wood, tore his ACL tonight and did the worst they could all year, they're still picking 7th or 8th. And yeah, this draft is deeper than normal, but what people are going to do when they actually do the draft research, they're going to recognize that 4 and 20 are very close. They're way closer than they are in normal years because of how deep the draft is. It's really just 1 and 2 that's leaps and bounds above everyone else. So whether the Knicks try their ass off and get knocked out in the first round, or they end up getting the 5th overall pick, I'm good with them winning. I only want to trade a dude that gets me better players right now. Honestly.
You done?
I am done. That was it.
You minus Julius Randle and you minus Jalen Brunson. That's not a good team. Sorry.
They're not the third worst. They're not third worst.
That's why there's a thing called the lottery, and maybe we move up. Okay? You know what I mean? Like we had, listen, with the year we got RJ Barrett.
You think that happened since 1985?
I get it. I understand that, but at least there's an opportunity. At least there's a chance. You know what I mean? Whereas now there's just genuinely not a chance. Look at the Pelicans and the Grizzlies in 2019 both were 33-win teams or 34-win teams. We were the 17-win team, and we moved back 2 spots, right? They're the ones who moved up several positions. So who's to say that we wouldn't have an opportunity? At least we have the chance to do so, and that's what I'm talking about. You need, in this league, in my opinion, obviously, look at what's happening with the Lakers. Look at what's happening with the Clippers. Look at what's happening with the Brooklyn Nets. They're just not all that good for one reason or another. They don't have that cohesiveness. They don't have the chemistry of a Milwaukee Bucks, of a Boston Celtics. So you need to draft at least one superstar level talent, top 20, 25 player. That is the only way to do this the right way. Julius Randle is preventing this team from doing so. Even, dare I say it, as much as I love and adore Jalen Brunson, he is preventing this team from being able to do so. You know why the team looks the way it does right now? In the sense of the 9-man rotation being chock full of younger guys? Because the goal of the front office is not to, I don't think the goal of the front office is to get better and try to compete right now today. If it happens by happenstance, sure. But I don't think that's the necessary goal. We're going to have 3 first-round picks this year, and we don't have a whole lot of holes to fill. So we're going to try to do some sort of consolidation and then draft 2 to 3 players in 2023, and that's just my humble opinion.
I don't think that we're going to draft in the top 5 based on the current team, obviously. I know that's not the hypotheticals we're talking about. But I don't even think, even if we miss the playoffs, we would draft in the top 10. Because do you want to hear some conspiracy time?
Sure.
Conspiracy Joe. The NBA owners and Adam Silver are all not for James Dolan. They don't actually like or appreciate him as owner, much like most of the fans don't. This is all hearsay. I'm clearly not someone that has any sources. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment and I don't know anybody. But I'm going to say this anyway. No one likes James Dolan, including his fans, and New York City is the highest, most profitable basketball city in the world. And whether the Knicks get 10 wins or 100 wins, they make a crap ton of money out of New York, and they don't need the Knicks to be good. So the reason why we keep moving down in the draft, not up in the draft, since James Dolan has owned the team in 1998, is because they don't actually want the Knicks to pick that high. They don't want them to get a superstar. They make more money if that superstar is on a much less marketable team, because that makes that team more marketable and New York stays the same. Whether there's 8 million people that live in New York, there's 10 million that live in the metropolitan area around it. Whether the Knicks are great or terrible, they will sell out 25,000 seats every single night. They will still make a crap ton of money on MSG. He doesn't even have a deal with Xfinity and Comcast, and they still make a crap ton of money off MSG. And they don't honestly care. And we're never going to move up with this dude as our owner because he's alienated too many people. And those lottery balls, some of them might be weighted. And because there's no real way for any of us common man to prove it, I think we're never going to move up. And it is what it is. I'd rather us try to trade for a star by matching salaries than we'll ever actually move up in the draft as long as that dude is our owner.
It's
I
a little
firmly
crazy.
believe that.
It's a little crazy how like I think we're the only team to not have moved up at all.
19 years, 20 years? That's literally impossible.
No, it's 1985, 40 years.
Is that the last time we moved up? Oh, that literally is impossible. We've been in the lottery or out of the playoffs for 2/3 of those years. That's not. I'm going to read the book, Behold a Pale Horse, soon, which is like the super duper conspiracy book that was written by a guy in the Navy. I'm borrowing it from a dude I work with in a little while. And I know it's not about sports, but if there was a sports one, I guarantee you the frozen envelope would be in there and the 37 years afterwards would be in there. That's for sure. All right, let's move on to the Bulls game. I knew we were going to feel that way about Julius Randle, so I wanted to get out early. So the Knicks beat the Bulls last game. Again, we're recording this right before the next game. 128-120 in overtime. Randle had a good game. But most importantly, two things. First off, Jalen Brunson playing on what we all thought was a foot contusion. And the way he balled out. 30 points, 7 assists. Unbelievable. Yeah.
It's funny. We saw the picture from the Christmas party that the Knicks had.
Yep.
And the Knicks players and all their lovely significant others. And you saw the Obi Toppin boot, which we were expecting. And then all of a sudden you look over to the left. Jalen Brunson's got a big old boot on. I'm like, oh man. I was like, no wonder the Knicks aren't the favorite in this game. He plays and the line stays the same. Weird. And I'm like, all right, well, let's see how this goes. Hey man, JB looked great. JB put up 30. JB had one of the most epic and memorable cross ups of Alex Caruso. Something that one of the core memories from this season will be that crossover / slip. He touched Caillou touched the greenest of green earths on that play, and it was just phenomenal to watch, especially because he's stifled the Knicks on so many occasions. What a tremendous defender. There have been times where he stepped up as a playmaker and was just great. Alex Caruso was a hell of a fun player. Like, side conversation, that kid is just great, and I'm a huge fan of his, especially like his like way to where he got to where he's at right now is just so you have to respect it. But that
before
being
you
said,
get off that real quick, that he's a prime example of why Quentin Grimes is such an integral part of any team, because Quentin Grimes does all the things that Caruso does defensively, and he's a way better shooter and just helps move the ball along. And Caruso will never lead the team in scoring. He'll never do that. But there's 5 dudes on a court. You only need like 3 to really score, and the other 2 do other stuff. He does the other stuff so amazing.
I was saying he'd be a tremendous fit, even over RJ, had we actually made the Donovan Mitchell trade, just because you need guys like that. If you're going to have Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, and Donovan Mitchell, you need guys to operate off ball. Low usage, high efficiency player. You need a guy that doesn't necessarily need the ball, but can create off the dribble if necessary, which is the best part about him. Like when he takes it to the rim and takes guys off the dribble, it's a sight to be seen, because it's like, you're like, oh, he's just Klay Thompson, or like, oh, he's just Danny Green, or oh, he's just some 3-and-D guy. But then he has some ball skills, which is like the best part about it. A lot of people forget he was a point guard prior to becoming this shooting guard 3-and-D specialist. So yeah, man, the Bulls game was great, and I'm looking forward to the one tonight. But this is still a tough team. This is still a team with 3 all-star caliber players, and they're going to be real upset about losing that game last time.
And they are a way better team at home than on the road. That's why I find it so difficult to imagine the Knicks actually do take both in Chicago. The last thing I wanted to touch on with you, Brad, before you go to your lovely dinner reservation, is RJ Barrett. And I know I made the comparison with you to him and DeRozan on the phone before. And just so the listeners know, it wasn't about their necessarily gameplay or style of play. It was their athleticism that I was comparing. And the reason why I thought of it and it got brought up was DeRozan drove on Mitch multiple times and got stifled at the rim every time. And it's really a reminder, even though RJ is 11 years younger than him, when RJ drives on dudes that are long and athletic, he's like not the best finisher because he doesn't have the greatest of athleticism. And
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to imagine two things. One, imagine if RJ gets the crappy whistle that DeRozan gets when he goes on these drives. Because RJ Barrett fouling out in that game was total crap. It was unbelievably stupid. But the
Yeah.
second thing is because RJ isn't necessarily a guy that we would imagine being an actual great long term 40% 3-point shooter. Imagine if he got even like half of that mid range game that DeRozan has, Brad. That thing is silky.
It's one of the best I've ever seen, you know. In today's game, you look at guys like you mentioned before, you think of a Kevin Durant, you think of even back in the day, Carmelo Anthony, you think of obviously DeMar DeRozan, Kawhi Leonard is a tremendous mid-range guy. Um, who else? Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson operates in the mid-range. Hey, I'm not going to compare him and Julius, but these are the upper echelon. Uh, but like when I'm looking at DeMar DeRozan operate in that 10 to 15 foot range around the rim. My God, is that guy a freaking magician or what?
He's amazing. It is unbelievable the things that he's able to do from like
Yeah,
8 to 18 feet. But his finishing isn't that great. And that's why like I thought of the comparison in the first place. It's like RJ actually had a pretty good game. Otherwise, he ended up with over 20 points. Let me go back to the exact thing. He had
you
Yahoo.
know,
He had
I'm
22 points, 4-7 from 3, 8-17 shooting, 6 rebounds, 3 turnovers, which always kind of sucks, and the 6 fouls, which half of which were kind of BS.
you know, pardon me. I was just thinking about it, and I like the comparison. Pardon me again. I like the comparison in the fact that you brought up at DeMar DeRozan, right? Because that made me think. When you think of star level talent in the NBA, right? And you think about especially on the offensive side, offensive stars. Every single one of them has that go-to something on the offensive side that they can always go to and they know it's going to work, right? Then you can build off of that and then get better in the areas where you're weaker over time. But stars have that go-to offensive skill that they can lean on when everything else is failing.
Yep.
I feel like RJ's problem is that he doesn't have that. He came into the league at 19 years old with the strength and body of a full-grown man, you know? So he has that strength to attack the basket and get into a center's chest and finish at the rim, but for whatever reason, just doesn't have the finesse once he's under there. He doesn't have that like mid-range game. He doesn't have that real solid floater game. He obviously doesn't have a long to super long range, right? I don't know, man. I mean, it's just weird because
I think
we
if he
think of
wanted to
RJ.
actually do the thing that he wanted to do, it would be finishing with his left hand in strength. But the thing is, he like you were saying, he's strong when he was 19 strong, but like now you're in the league with all men, and he can't jump out of the building. That's what it is. He doesn't jump out of the gym.
I don't think RJ's really gotten much better since he was drafted. Is that crazy to say?
I
Where has
wish
he
he
where
had a
has he
reason.
unquestionably improved? Where and what area has he unquestionably gotten leaps and bounds better?
It would have been shooting, but it went down so much last year from 2 years ago that you can't say that.
You remember in the preseason how excited we were about his shooting? Like, we got freaking Jason Capono and his name is
Yeah.
RJ Barrett. And
Yeah.
then that game one, it was like, oh, he's not a shooter.
It's
whatever.
rough watching RJ in one game go 4 for 8 from three, and the next game go 1 for 10. It
Yeah.
really, it like, hits me in the core, you know. Brad,
I
what
mean,
time is your reservation at? 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. It's 6:42. Let's get to the upcoming week really quick. So, you think the Knicks win tonight? Just for all the listeners, they'll know if we're hypothetically right or wrong. I was right last week about the Charlotte game, and you were wrong. And then we were both wrong about
So
the Kings game. So,
I
what do
thought
you
we
think
were.
happens against the Bulls right now?
I thought we were at home, and I didn't like that Charlotte. No. Seriously, I really did. So for the Charlotte game, I thought we were -3.5 at home, and I was like, that's a little weird because we're a much better team than Charlotte, especially with all the injuries that they were dealing with. So I was like, I don't like 3.5. I don't know why it's so tight. I didn't know we were on the road. Had
Yeah.
I known that, I would have taken that back. So I'm just letting everybody know that. I thought we were going to lose to the Kings. We did not lose to the Kings. I mean, I picked in my brain. I picked against. I didn't bet against them, but I picked against the Knicks because I was like, why is this subpar, not so good Chicago team -4, and they don't have Lonzo Ball against the
Because
Knicks,
from a
who are
gambling
coming off of.
standpoint for casuals, it's like they have DeRozan and Levine, and we don't have Brunson when the line comes out.
Right, but even when Brunson was announced to be playing, the line pretty much stayed right around the same, and I was just like, that's a little weird. I wanted to stay away from it, and they won. So how do I bet against them again? I mean, I think Chicago's going to want that win back, and they're going to do a lot to get it. I look back at the Pelicans just had a very similar situation where they played Utah back to back, but with a day in between. Utah kind of just showed up. The Pelicans, granted, no Brandon Ingram, but the Pelicans have been the best team in basketball, especially on the west side. They've been one of the better teams in basketball, and yet for whatever reason, they lost to Utah. So I'm like, all right, they got to get
Utah
one
does
back.
have a mean home court advantage, though. That
They
doesn't give
do
up
for
credit.
sure, but I'm thinking the Pelicans want to try to get that win back, and they tried. They had a
Yeah.
comfortable 10-point. Listen, I parlayed Memphis and New Orleans last night, and I went to sleep, and I could have cashed out for like $70, $80 or something like that. And I was like, nah, they got a comfortable lead in the third quarter. I'll let it ride. I woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning to see that I lost that bet. I'm like,
You didn't know Colin Sexton and Laurie Markkinen were gonna ruin your dreams.
yeah, for real. But whatever. Also, bad beat of my life. I fell asleep with like 2 or 3 minutes into the third quarter with Jonas Valanciunas with 7 rebounds. I had him over 9.5. He finished at 9.
Yeah.
You
Oh
knew
God.
that.
Sorry.
Yep. He finished at 9. And I was like, that's terrible. But yeah, sorry, Knicks talk.
Let's go.
What about you?
Speaking of which, I won my college football bet, but keep going.
What do you think? How do you think tonight's game is going to play out?
We both picked them last week to go 1-1 in Chicago. So, I mean, they won the first game. Logically, I think they would actually lose the second game. I obviously hope they win. I want them to win. I always think they're going to lose. They're the Knicks. I cheer for the Knicks, Mets, and Jets, like I say. They all lose all the time. I don't know what winning's like. So I do honestly expect them to lose, and Levine and DeRozan to both shoot a little bit better. Levine shot all right, but DeRozan, did shoot terribly last game and just got to the line a lot.
Mm-hmm. Joe, while we're here, can you check your Discord?
I check my Discord.
Really quick.
Yes. You want me to check it on my phone?
Yep, while we're live.
You want me to read this?
No.
Oh. Then, what the fuck? Oh my God. That's hilarious. Imagine you took Brunson out, though. You should have, I don't know.
No, this is if you haven't noticed, this is the We Here season.
That's mad.
Look at the numbers. I'm Alfred Payton, apparently.
Oh.
So for everyone who doesn't know, you're probably not going to be able to see
Bullock.
my phone at any point. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but
that's mad funny.
Our producer Vinny made a really funny edit, and it's just the Knicks starting 5, and Joseph and myself are in the Knicks starting 5. It's going to be the thumbnail for the pod, so you guys will obviously see
honestly
that.
I wish he edits Reggie Bullock's hair out of my head.
That would be epic.
Right?
Epic.
The other games we got. Yeah, I
Let's
want to
start
get you
close
out of
this
here. I know you
out.
got to go. Let me say the other games real quick. We got at Indy Sunday. We're home against the Warriors. No Steph Curry because I mean that's how our season's going for some reason. Tuesday,
Hmm.
home against the Raptors Wednesday, so that's a back to back, and then home against these same Bulls again Friday. So I'm feeling 3-2 ish. If I'm to pick, I think we lose to Indy, lose to the or 2-2. Lose to Indy, lose to the Raptors, beat the Warriors, beat Chicago. What say you?
Indy's a tough team. Indy's a tough team.
I was so on Benedict Mathurin, man. I said it so many times.
Oh man, yeah. My one of my daily Knicks guys, Mark, he was on Benny a very long time ago. We're all sitting there talking about Jaden Ivey, Jaden Ivey, Jaden. No. Benedict Mathurin.
It's on this
And,
pod, man. If people go back, I'm literally saying I want Mathurin over Ivy the whole effing time.
yeah. So give me the game by game. So starting with Chicago,
We're at Indy, Chicago tonight. This will be done
loss.
by the time this
I'm
comes
gonna
out.
guess. I'm gonna guess loss just because I really want them to win. So if I might just bet on Chicago so that I lose my bet, but then the Knicks win. So, but that's neither
Okay.
here nor there. What's the next one?
At Indy on Sunday.
At Indy on a Sunday. See, weekends are always weird in the NBA, and I'm not entirely too sure why.
There's
But
way less to do in Indiana than there's to do in New York, though.
that's very accurate. What time's the game?
I believe it's a 7 p.m. Let me double check.
They're
Super
gonna
duper
be the
fast.
they're gonna be the favorites for sure.
It's 5 o'clock, so it's 4 o'clock there. I don't know. Is Indiana an hour behind? It's 5 p.m. Eastern.
Indiana is not. I don't think so.
I don't think they can.
Um, damn, I would love that win, but they're just like a really well put together team, and Tyrese Halliburton is him. Loss.
Dude, Halliburton and fucking Mathurin are so nice. So nice. Next game is home against the Warriors Tuesday.
We want to get our lick back. You know, they beat us earlier in the season. I don't care if it's with or without Steph. We're going to beat that team,
Oh
guaranteed.
yeah, I agree. I think without Steph, they're actually a borderline lottery, like bottom five lottery team without Steph
Which
Curry.
is crazy.
Yeah.
And who else?
Home against the Raptors Wednesday back to back, and I'll tell you if the Raptors are playing the night before, the Raptors would have a day off in between, so they're not on a back to back.
And we're playing in New York.
Playing in New York. Yep.
Raptors. I don't care. OG Anunoby or not Raptors.
Yeah.
That's
I
just
think I also
such a
on the back end. You know.
Nick Nurse is just a sensational coach. He just knows. Yeah. And what's the last one?
Home against the Bulls on Friday.
I think we get that one. I think we get that one.
So you're also
If
saying
we
two and
if we
two.
win tonight's game in Chicago, I think they might try to take one from us in New York. But yeah,
I
cool.
think if we win tonight's game, we just own them as a team. Because like they are pretty top heavy, and their top is kind of like ours. It's like they have like a mid two,
Yeah.
2.5. I don't know how much you like Vucevic, but like we're both middling teams.
Let's not spend too much time on this, but how do you feel about the Knicks trading for Zach LaVine? He's having the worst season of his career statistically from an efficiency standpoint, and he's averaging like the third or fourth lowest points per game of his career.
His legs and knees, it just he was such a dude that's relied on athleticism so much.
You ready?
Like,
You ready? You
and he
ready?
has a great shot, but
Worst knees. Kemba Walker is up here.
yep,
Derrick Rose and Zach LaVine are like teetering.
yeah.
They're not too far off.
Zach
His knees
Levine's only 27 though, so it's like, does that mean he has a while before the deterioration really happens, or does that mean it's happening younger for him than it did for anyone else? Like, he's a good player. He's not a needle mover. He's worse than Donovan Mitchell. We didn't get Donovan Mitchell, and even if we had Donovan Mitchell, we would still be competing for like the fifth seed. Why would we do this?
Yeah, I wouldn't even think that a big three of Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, and Julius Randle, it would really, let alone if it was Zach LaVine. So neither here nor there.
I don't want him. I mean, if we get him, I'm not gonna like. It's not like I'm gonna crucify them. It would be them upgrading their team in a sense.
It depends on what's being given up. You know,
Yeah. Is it two unprotected firsts and like two players we kind of were gonna get rid of? Then yeah, sure, whatever. Is it
I'll throw him a
like,
couple I'll throw him a couple protected first. That's fine.
well, when
Not
I say two unprotected, it's like that's the main part. If we throw them like the Wizards or the Detroit pick, it's like who really cares at that point?
take Cam Reddish or and something.
I'm pretty
Whatever.
sure what's his contract? Does this say it on this or
Who?
doesn't? I'm not gonna Levine.
Zach LaVine. He's
Yeah.
making $60 million by the end of it.
What is it right now? 44?
37 or 38.
So they would literally have to include 48 rows almost off the bat just to get close to matching. Reddish
Oh,
and or
matching.
IW.
You match if you include Fournier, Rose, and Quickly. I've done this several times.
And if
It's
that's the
almost.
case, and Quickly's the only good player they're getting, you need to throw them three first round picks at least anyway. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
I said Cam Reddish, but I mean you could also probably sub Quickly.
Quickly
No,
has more value in the league than Cam does right now.
no, for sure.
So,
But but I still don't think it takes two or three unprotected picks. I mean, I wouldn't do it for two or three unprotected picks. That's just my thing. But anyways, let's close out the show.
I'm good with that. Yeah, that's fine. I don't want Zach LaVine for the price he's probably going to get.
Neither.
Brad, it's always a pleasure. Again, for all the listeners, make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Big Nick Energy, at Big Nick Energy _. Check us out on Facebook, Big Nick Energy there. Like, share, and subscribe and comment on our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Pods. And Brad, tell us about ChalkBoard again.
Joe, you ever been itching for a place to talk sports
I love sports and gambling, man.
and betting advice?
I love
Yeah.
betting advice.
Check us out again. Check us out on ChalkBoard. The link will be in the description. It's a lot of fun over there. We're just trying to bring a sense of community to the people that are fans of Big Nick Energy, and we just want to, put everybody in a position where they can have their voice heard in some capacity. And again, 100 members, we're going to do a Knicks ticket giveaway, so that's going to be freaking awesome. And then we'll every milestone we'll try to give away, better tickets or merchandise or whatever the case may be. So please, if you could, it's absolutely free and it supports us a lot. So if you could, join via our link in description, that would be greatly appreciated. And once we hit that 100 milestone, some Knicks tickets are coming your way potentially.
And to make it worthwhile for any of you guys that join and then you don't get the Knicks tickets, some of us are pretty good at gambling. Me and Brad aren't the only ones in there. It's definitely worthwhile to go in there and then follow some of our best bets. You'll win more money than you'll lose for sure.
For sure. But yeah, you can always find us at Big Nick Energy _ on Twitter, at Big Nick Energy on Instagram. As Joey mentioned, Facebook, Twitter, etc., etc., etc. You can find me at Brad Dressler 24 on Instagram and Twitter. What about you, Joey?
I am at Joey Lindolfa on Twitter and Instagram. Also, if you add me, any of us on Facebook, we'll also invite you to the group there as well.
For sure.
Brad, let's go Knicks. Enjoy your dinner.
Got a Knicks game in an hour.
Peace.